All right, just want to give you a quick tip as you're working on your fielder and you're installing your sleeves, because this fielder, the way the raglan sleeves work, it's really an exercise in draping. So I've already installed my front two sleeves here, and I wanted to show you what that looks like. So when we have these triangles right here, and when you went to do this, sew the seam, then you want to line up all your notches in a way, just be really careful about where the notches are. And then on all of the seams around the collar, you're going to end up with a triangle here where I've got my notch, I've got my notch, and then this seam allowance on the collar is going to end in the same place as we're going to sew. And then I've got another notch here that kind of checks our work and make sure that we've done that right. So when you end up with this nice equilateral triangle, what happens is when you're gently, pressing this into shape, we're creating this collar shape, and this triangle completely tucks in right there. And what this does is it gives this entire seam room to drape around a curve the way that it wants to. So that's why you have those triangles, and it's a good thing to look for as you're pinning and sewing your seams. So just to show you what that's like, I haven't done my back yet. So I have my back. I'm holding the back sleeve. I'm going to grab my back piece here, and I'm looking at the wrong side of my back, and I'm looking at the right side of my back sleeve. So I'm going to put it on the right direction. So I first find my middle notches here, and grab my pin and pin this down. Get the pin so it's at my 1 centimeter seam allowance. Because remember, you really want, you want the seam line to be draping perfectly. It's a good thing to think about. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of creating with my nails like where the seam line's going to go. And I'm gently manipulating at the seam line, not at the edges, in order to line up my sleeve nicely here. And then up here, I'm using my finger to create curve, and I'm getting my little equilateral triangle that we're talking about perfectly lined up with my notches here. And pin that in. Walk along my seam line. Definitely want some more pins here. Flip this over. And I'm really manipulating with my fingers like behind it, pretty far back from the actual edge of the seam allowance. So I can get to the nice drape, nice curved drape that I'm looking for here. So a little bit of just, trial and error, moving it around. But at the end, it will feel really gentle and right. It will feel right when you've got it. So down here, I'm going to do a pin that I might need to move. It looks pretty good. And then down here at the bottom of the back sleeves don't have a triangle at the end. So I've got my notches lined up here and here, and this lines up exactly at the bottom without a triangle sticking out. So don't look for a triangle down there. And I'm pretty happy with how this is curving around. So I wanted to show how that pins. And then when you go to your machine and sew it, you just want to really carefully make sure that you're keeping that nice drape all the way across and down by kind of holding it kind of the way that it wants to fall on the body. So that's my tip for sewing on the shoulder seams.